Hi, and welcome to our look at the Monday, August 18th trading session. In front of you, I have the economic calendar. Quite frankly, this could have the potential to be a very quiet session. Very little in the way of Asia. You can see that we have department store sales year over year in Japan, and then Tokyo department store sales. Not exactly a market-moving event. However, it could affect, of course, some random Japanese stocks if you happen to be trading them. The Australians have new motor vehicle sales. Really not a big deal, again. So we get into trade balance and the Eurozone. Really nothing there. The housing market index, confidence index, really out of the United States is probably the biggest mover of the market, and quite frankly, that is probably going to be somewhat minor. If it's good, it really could push the S&P 500 higher, but really beyond that, we don't see much of a use for the economic announcements for the day. So with that, let's take a look at the charts themselves. The aforementioned mentioned S&P 500, as you can see, had an interesting session on Friday as news of shooting out of the Ukraine, of course, rocked most of the risk appetite of the markets. But the Americans did something very interesting. They found support down in 1940 and ended up bouncing enough to form a hammer. This hammer suggests that we are going to chew into this resistance above, but quite frankly, any pullback between now and then is going to be thought of as a buying opportunity. To think that we'll shoot straight up is probably being a bit too optimistic, but obviously there are buyers below looking to take advantage of value. The S&P 500 is most certainly still in the uptrend as defined by this trend line, so looks good, and quite frankly we hope we get a little bit of a pullback so that we can buy a bit of that value. Oil markets did something very interesting on Friday as they turned right back around and wiped out the losses of Thursday. We are now back above the 96.5 level, and it looks like we're getting back into this consolidation area. We could very well see a move higher. Above 98.50, though, things get truly interesting as oil should take off from there. Looking at the euro dollar, you can see the daily chart is very choppy looking, but when you switch over to the weekly time frame, those are the hammers. There's 1, 2, and 3, as I mentioned previously. Very positive sign. Quite frankly, it's really, really difficult to imagine that the market isn't going to bounce a little bit. 135 should be resistive. We're not looking for a big move. We're just looking for a small short-term buying opportunity, perhaps as high as 135. That being the case, Euro bulls will probably continue to come in and buy every time it dips. Euro should be okay for the next couple of days, but really we don't expect anything major. Looking at pound dollar, you can see that we broke back above the 167 level, but really nothing major. We might get a pop to about 168. Beyond that, it's probably asking a bit much out of this currency pair right now. You can see we've made a little bit of a double bottom, but it's a little early to be getting bullish at this point. We think a short-term buy opportunity may present itself, but really we're looking for very little in the way of action in cable during the session. And with that, we've looked at the Monday, August 18th trading session.